Welcome to the Rebekah Panepinto Project. Today, I am very excited to host Shawn Harrs. Shawn is CIO at the Red Lobster, the world's largest seafood restaurant company. He joined the organization back in January 2023 and has since enacted a template that he's established throughout his career as he has held multiple different IT leadership roles. He assesses the IT organization, presents his findings to the business and IT leaders, and then uses those discussions to develop a strategy for the coming year. It is this commitment to detail that has helped him to see his career progress through multiple CIO and senior director roles, including CIO at an energy fund, a venture capital-based financial services startup, and also the Director of Customer Information Management and Operations at the Walt Disney Company. Shawn credits his diverse experiences and his educational background, including a bachelor's degree in computer engineering, an MBA, and a PhD in information systems, for his incredible success as an executive, explaining that these have helped him to understand different perspectives. We have an amazing conversation today where we had a chance to talk a little bit about our mutual hobby in scuba diving, but Shawn also gave us a really clear picture of how they are rolling out the red carpet for Red Lobster customers. Enjoy the show. Shawn, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me, Rebekah. Pleasure to be here.
I've been so looking forward to this. I told you when we first met that all growing up, my favorite restaurant, every birthday, every chance I could get was Red Lobster for those cheese butter biscuits. They were definitely a staple in my childhood. So I'm so excited to be having you on the show to hear about the amazing journey that you're on with Red Lobster.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Your success where you're at today doesn't obviously come just from what you did last year, the past 2 years, but really where you started your career, which was with an amazing brand, an engineer at Disney. So I want to start with that part of your journey and tell us a little bit about the learnings you had from day one, being able to work for such an incredible company and make your way up through the corporation over 13 years to learn so much about customer experience and how you can really give people an incredible brand experience.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great place to start because the opportunity to get a job as an engineer at Disney really shaped my career. It shaped my thinking. It shaped my outlook on what it means to be in a company and the opportunities that you have as an employee in a company to make a difference for what the company's goals are. An engineer, by trade, we build things. We design and we build things. And so to be in a company that is focused on experiences and exceptional talent and exceptional, customer and guest service and all of that, and to be in an engineer in an organization that has that focus, the kinds of things that you have the opportunity to be involved in and build were so exciting. I still find that it's fun to talk about them. I mean, I started my career there this year, 25 years ago. And if you think about technology, particularly computing technology of 25 years ago, it might not sound that interesting. But if I were to build something similar today, or let's put it this way, the need for the things that I built 25 years ago still exist. Just the technology that is available to solve those same problems are different. And so that's one thing that has helped me throughout my career. There are always problems that need a solution, like a legitimate problem needing a legitimate solution, not a solution looking for a problem. And two, you always have to be thinking about how you approach solving that problem, even if you've done it once, 10, 12, 20 times. Technology evolves. So the way you attack and the way you approach solving that problem changes. And that those opportunities early in my career really shaped me. That's one. Two, when you work with great talent, like exceptionally great engineers or talented actors, singers, content producers, artists, you really get a view of what it takes to bring something about. It's not one person, it's a team. And so from the get-go, I learned that yes, I'm an individual contributor. Yes, I'm an engineer. Yes, I have this project and I have to solve for this. But one, there are people who came before me, and I'm not solving a problem that they created. I'm solving something that just makes what they did better. And two, you have to work with other people. If you think that you're working on your own and that the solution is going to come about just by doing it on your own, you're leaving a lot on the table. And so a company like Disney creates opportunities like that to learn in environments where you're doing great things that will delight kids and delight people. It was amazing to go out there and see the things that I built being used by people to just enjoy life more. And that's where I started my career.
Well, when I think of Disney too, you don't serve just like, you know, 12 to 18-year-old kids because they can't go to Disneyland by themselves. They can't go to
No.
Disney World by themselves. You have this audience that is going to be very intrigued at certain different ages and stages of their life with certain different brands within Disney. But ultimately, you've got to get the parents bought in because they've got to take the kids to engage with the brand ongoing. And then you want to, along the growth journey of these kids, grab their attention at appropriate levels with appropriate brands so that they grow up with Disney. Like a lot of folks that I know who
Mhm.
have, you know, been a fan of Mickey Mouse since they were watching it when they were a child themselves. So when you think about serving such a wide generation and this large gap of ages, what does that mean for you when it comes to giving somebody a quality brand experience that they can connect with for generations and everybody can have a great day at Disney, no matter if they're the 60-year-old grandma or the 6-year-old, niece or nephew?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I learned in my last role at Disney, I was a director in corporate brand strategy. And Disney's sort of brand is, as you just said, 0 to 99. And, boys and girls of all ages will engage with Disney uh, and very, a lot on their own or a lot as part of themselves and others. So when they're young, they're, going to uh, enjoy going to Disney as a child, but with their parents. And but if you're at home and you're a parent and you're watching sports on ESPN, or you're going to a movie to see a Star Wars movie with your friends or whatever, Disney sort of thinks across that 0 to 99 spectrum about what the experience is that they want to bring about and how their various uh, products and intellectual property can best support a great experience across that time frame. I'll give a couple of examples. Winnie the Pooh is a fun, childish childhood story, and it's really sort of geared towards, kids who are like really up to 3 years old. And so what you won't ever really see is a Winnie the Pooh action hero. That just wouldn't work. So Disney is really good about curating what they have in terms of their intellectual property and keeping the essence of it. So whether you go on a Winnie the Pooh ride at Disney World, or you're going to design a nursery for a newborn, you're going to see a lot of Winnie the Pooh products and experiences at the company. And this goes across all of their different lines of business, whether it's travel, it's consumer products, it's movie and entertainment. It's geared towards an experience that is sort of based on an age group. Very interestingly, when you think about it that way, especially for a company that is in content creation, they're very easily able to see where they may have gaps in terms of the types of content that they have available or the talent that they have available to build that content. And so you may recall, or your audience may recall, Disney acquired Pixar, Disney acquired Lucasfilm, Disney acquired Marvel. That clearly was a gap that they had in terms of having content, experiences, products, whatever it was, in that, teenage boy to, mid 20s sort of male space. Now, do girls like Marvel movies? Absolutely. Do younger kids like some of this content? Absolutely. But the core of where the revenue comes from, the Lucasfilm and Marvel content, was a gap for them. And this sort of that thought process really helps that company on an ongoing basis be so competitive. And so in the time that I was with Disney, about just shy of 15 years, and through various jobs, I was able to learn a lot of, sort of strategic design thinking or ways to approach things, teamwork. And so in the example I just gave, I'll look at the talent in my organization and I'll see, here are the demands of my internal customers, the employees, the guests, and I'll say, here are gaps in our ability to deliver great employee experiences, great guest experiences. That is a mental model that I learned at Disney, and I still use till today.
Yeah, when I think of Disney, like you said, it's heavy content and content drives experience. Now, I think about the parallel to the world that you're living in now and the world of experiences when you go to a restaurant, like social experiences. Obviously, content isn't as big of a driver to get people into those. It's not like they're all going to see a movie together, they're instead going to share a meal together. But do you see some ways that it's super similar in how you go about building the brand to curate an experience when they're in that restaurant, like they would have an experience when they get to that movie or when they get to a park?
Yeah, it's all hospitality. The segment of Disney that I spent the most time at, the theme parks, parks and experiences, is a hospitality company. I mean, that's what you go there for. You go for the experience of staying at a resort, of even traveling between resorts. I mean, Disney makes that into an experience. The experience of getting into the theme parks, to say, we welcome you, but now we need you to line up for a long time. They remove those barriers because they want, once you enter that world, Disneyland, Disney World, the cruise line, whatever it is, they want that experience, no matter what it is you're doing, to be full of hospitality and enjoyment and joy and experience. They don't want you to be thinking about not liking any single moment of the time that you have there. And that is true for what any hospitality experience should be. And that's what we aim to be. We want our guests to and have anticipation and excitement about they're coming to Red Lobster today and they're looking forward to our Cheddar Bay biscuits. So we want to make a very compelling, give people a very compelling feeling about excitement and looking forward to coming. And from the moment you get to the restaurant and you park and you come in and you see the landscaping and you see this beautiful red building and the Red Lobster sign outside, you feel what we call a red carpet welcome. And, we're rolling out the red carpet for our guests, and that you feel a sense of hospitality from the moment you arrive. You walk in the door, you're greeted, until the moment you leave, where we thank each and every guest for coming. That entire experience, that has to be filled with hospitality. And then, and that as soon as you sit down, the Cheddar Bay biscuits come out, and immediately you're filled with the smell of it and the experience and the memories of your childhood. That is really what hospitality is about. And
Mm.
if you can really execute on that, the way we have been able to pivot to being able to execute right now, you see it in the customer sentiment results. You see it in the reviews online about the joy that people are having from that experience. It's not just about dining; it's about memories, as you said at the beginning. And when you have those memories, it creates a real bond to the brand, and a real affinity for it. And but you have to do everything, as I sort of learned at Disney. You have to have every single touch point in the experience be memorable, and that's that's what's attracting guests to come to us for the first time and come back after a while.
Mm. Yeah, once again, your audience is that I think feel like 0 to 99, but instead of
Yeah,
just to
absolutely.
engage with a character, it's to engage with food and community and this red carpet experience. So, what drew you to join the Red Lobster team?
I grew up in an island nation. I grew up in the Caribbean, sort of just in Barbados, a little bit east of the Caribbean islands. And the ocean being all around us, I mean, the island's only, 16 miles wide. There's ocean everywhere. And I have this affinity to the ocean. Um, I, I I love diving. I love anything to do with the ocean. I'm a scuba instructor with Patty, and so part of that is what comes with that affinity is also sustainability. So anything to do with the ocean, be it seafood or ocean sustainability, those are things that have just as a person have mattered to me. And so Red Lobster as a brand, obviously a fantastic company, a great product, a great experience for its customers. But with that focus on seafood and sustainability, it really then also appealed to me as a person, not just as a job to work for a great company, but a company with a mission that really aligns with the things that are important to me.
Oh, that's very cool. Gives you that much more meaning and purpose to your work when you can
It
draw
does.
parallels to your personal passions. Let's talk more about this red carpet experience too. You're doing so many cool things. I mean, social media game has just completely been crushing it. Red Lobster seems to be popping up all over the place. Mobile app, redesigning a lot of the stores and the way you experience and navigate once you get into the location. Where have some of the most exciting pieces that play into this red carpet experience come from as far as inspiration and then execution?
Yeah. Uh, I'm not going to be the CIO here for a moment, and I have to give some credit, not credit, really a lot of credit to my peers. This whole red carpet experience that we are really doing a great job executing really comes from the team out in the restaurants. I mean, they're the ones that are creating that amazing experience. I love getting out and visiting the restaurants and talking to the team out there. Um, you know, Obviously we talk about how technology can help them do their jobs better or create a better guest experience. But I like to look at and talk to them about what it is that they're able to do or would like to do. What are their ideas about just creating that exceptional hospitality experience? So this initiative that we launched not long ago, that we call rolling out the red carpet, was really an internal initiative where we wanted to internally brand for our team what we how we saw hospitality. We want and our team absolutely loves it. It ties to our brand, with the red, obviously, and to say that we are working in the restaurant industry. When you think of, the restaurant industry is like, for a long time, it's just kind of become, well, we're going to go to dinner and it's just about the dinner. Rolling out the red carpet starts outside of the front door. So it's we are creating this experience where we celebrate our customers and our guests, and we make them feel special from the moment they step into our parking lot in front of our building, all the way to when they leave, they're walking off the red carpet. That is proverbially speaking. This is an experience that we have designed to create an absolutely exceptional hospitality experience for our guests. And it is, it really has transformed how our employees see their roles. Um, and it's not, it's very akin to how Disney calls each of its employees a cast member or a crew member. You're a member of the cast. It doesn't matter what job you're doing. You are part of the show. And so if you work in custodial, if you work in food and beverage, if you're the vice president of the theme park, it doesn't matter. Everyone is part of the show. Everyone is responsible for making each and every person feel special. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you're part of the show. You make those magical memories. And so that's what our red carpet initiative is about.
And it's not just about the customer, it is about the people that work for you. When we first got connected, you said one of your core missions in your role is to make it a great place to work. Because if you have happy employees and happy restaurant staff, you typically are going to get happy customers. It's funny how that works.
They
Uh,
Right. I mean,
mm,
it kind of goes three ways. I had a leader in a company I worked for, and he called it the three-legged stool. If you have happy customers and happy employees, you'll have happy shareholders. And you can't have a three-legged stool be strong if any one of those wants to be stronger. Some of the others are going to be weaker. Um, all three work together. And so this red carpet initiative has created such pride in our employees. We're I 2 weeks ago I was visiting a restaurant. We had a job fair, um, and we just had so many people coming to the restaurant wanting to come work for us because they could see it, they could feel it, as you said, out in the social media, in the world of hospitality. They're coming from other restaurants or other jobs. They know and they're hearing just what a great employee experience we have. They want to be part of that, and that to me is just the was such an amazing event to be a part of. I really enjoyed it.
Shawn, I typically like to close an episode talking around principles, but I want to pivot it a little bit because we have such an exciting mutual hobby in scuba diving. And I'm more interested in
Yeah.
to hear your take on the best leadership lesson or maybe business lesson you've learned from your scuba diving hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great talking with you about all the really interesting places that we've been diving. And it's such an exceptional hobby and pastime. I mean, if you get into it, invariably you're going to start planning vacations around where can I go to dive. I had, as I mentioned earlier, the fortune of growing up and living in a place where it's not something you have to like think about doing because it's right there on your doorstep. My school bus stop literally was at a beach by the Caribbean Sea. Um, and diving is something you're committing to putting yourself into an alien world. We can't breathe there. We weren't we aren't meant to be underwater in the ocean for more than a minute. That's not, especially, going to a depth. And there are people who push themselves to go down there and swim to depths where there's no light. But that's the exception, and, but it is a beautiful pastime. And it really, I'd say there's a couple of leadership lessons that you have from that I can take from that. One is get out of your comfort zone. commit to the beauty and the tranquility of this experience of putting yourself in an alien world where you're going to experience something that you can't get on terra firma, and enjoy that part of this, our beautiful planet. And the second thing is, there's, obviously, because you're going into this alien world, you've got to be, safety is the first key. So good equipment, you know what you're doing. You've got to train. You've got to learn. You've got to dive with other people. And so there's a saying in the dive world called "plan the dive, dive the plan." And so, in the business world, other people might say measure twice, cut once, and other things. But uniquely to the dive world, plan the dive, dive the plan, translates to me in terms of leadership is, look, it's important in the technology world. If you're doing product development, you've got a great idea. Your plan is to build that product. If you're working in a big enterprise, you're going to build strategy and determine how technology is going to enable that business strategy. That's the plan. So whether you're a startup or you're big enterprise, that's plan the dive. Now you are actually getting into the water. Okay, you're at the surface when you're planning that dive, your tank is full, your equipment is working, the sun is out and shining. You're going into a completely other world. And anyone who works in technology knows that in technology delivery, once you've gotten out of the idea stage and you're in delivery, it's like getting into the ocean and suddenly everything is different. So diving the plan means, best case, what you're going to do on that dive is dive to that plan. You don't want to deviate from it because you did all of these calculations, you made all of these plans at the surface. And if you deviate from that, you're making a on the moment decision that doesn't account for other risks. And so, typically in the business world, you have change management and all these other things that sort of represent that. You can't do that on the moment when you're down there. And the other part of that is diving that plan is best case. If you or someone that you're diving with consumes their air faster than they expected to in the plan, that's the dive. That's when it ends. The plan in the dive is that when you reach that safety limit, you're ending the dive. The dive is not about we're going to, experience this shipwreck or we're going to experience this reef. It's with an and. There are parameters to that experience that you're going to adhere to. We're going to experience this shipwreck as long as we have the amount of air that we planned for. Otherwise, we're going to make a safety ascent. And that's what you need to do in business, especially in technology. You have to be willing always, no matter how big your enterprise is, you have to be agile and be prepared to make adjustments and changes. Some people call it, the latest fire drill. But if you're not adapted to making spur of the moment adjustments to everything you're doing, things aren't going to go right. And then, so I love this, plan the dive, dive the plan sort of adage to align with sort of how I think about leading a technology organization, and helping the team through those adjustments every day. That's mine.
That's amazing. Oh, I've learned so much about being able to be more self-aware than I normally was before I learned how to scuba dive anyway, too, because you're in this situation where it's quiet and you can't talk, your only goal is to breathe. And so then you learn this different way of being aware of the people around you and what's going on and how to react to that. That then in the real world, actually, I think helps enhance your senses as well, to be like, wow, Now it's so much easier above, above the water.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool thing I learned from it is like, whoa, self-awareness, because it's a whole nother level when you're only communicating with hand signals. You have to get really crisp and
Yeah.
really clear, and it can just help you in your day job. So if anybody's wanting to pick up a new hobby, I would say that this is a good one if you want to develop your leadership skills
I
along the
highly
way.
recommend it. I highly recommend it.
Mm.
It really is a phenomenal pastime.
Mm. Well, Shawn, you're awesome. I have absolutely loved this conversation. I love your take on leadership, and I'm really excited to see the future of the rolling out the red carpet with Red Lobster and how you guys continue to grow based on those changes that you're making to the business.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's been a pleasure to be here. Love the opportunity to be able to share my leadership journey, and thanks for your time today.
More to come. You're awesome. We'll keep tabs on you. Have a good one, Shawn.
Yeah, thank you. You too.